In high school, the fat boy I often bullied was pushed down the stairs. Everyone thought I did it, and no one believed me even though I tried desperately to explain. I was expelled from school as a result. A few years later, I went to an interview at a company, and I never expected that the CEO of this company was the boy I bullied in high school, but now he had become rich and incredibly handsome. Miss Chelsea Findlay, the CEO himself wants to personally interview you, a stylishly dressed man said as he led me through the corridor. My heart raced. Had he noticed something odd on my resume? He brought me to the last office on the floor, and the man knocked lightly on the door. Mr. Herslan, as requested, I brought the candidate. Come in, a harsh voice came from inside. The man turned the doorknob and opened the door, urging me to go in. As soon as I entered the office, I heard a low voice. Please come closer. It was the voice of the so-called CEO. Please sit, Miss Findlay, he urged. Yes, sir, I stammered, pulling out the chair opposite his desk as his eyes scanned my resume. Thank you, I added politely. Your grades aren't impressive, he said, nodding with disappointment. My heart sank. He wasn't wrong. Based on your grades, you're not really suited for this position. Oh, I murmured, unsure of what to say, so I leaned forward and asked, what position do you think I would be suited for? Maybe a doorman. His voice carried a hint of derision. I went quiet. Was he mocking me? I wasn't sure, but just as I was thinking this, he suddenly laughed. Miss Findlay, looks like your sense of humor isn't great. I was just joking. Haha. I laughed nervously. Sorry, I'm a bit anxious today. Would you like a glass of water? He handed me a bottle, and I trembled as I took it from him. Thank you. Your resume says you attended Gary Cooper High. Is that true? He asked. Yes, I hesitated before answering. Then, Miss Findlay, do you recognize me? He asked. This was my chance to admire his features. He was an exceptionally handsome man. No, should I? I asked, studying him carefully. He was incredibly handsome, just like the man I had seen in the news, but I couldn't remember where I had seen him before. You don't remember me? I'm quite offended. I used to be your favorite back in school. I'm sure you remember the boy named Noah Alvarez, he said, pressing his hands on the desk and leaning in closer. You don't remember him? You almost ruined his life, or rather, ruined mine? He pushed the hair that covered his eyes, revealing an ugly scar on his forehead. My heart sank. This was the worst outcome. Noah Alvarez, the name echoed in my ears as I stared at the man before me. His icy blue eyes locked onto mine, and I couldn't tear my gaze away. I remembered Noah Alvarez clearly, but the man sitting in front of me was nothing like the boy I remembered. The boy I remembered had been chubby, with freckles on his face. He wore round glasses and often stumbled over his words, but the man before me was confident, composed, and exuded power. It was hard to believe he was the same boy from my memories. You, I muttered, struggling to speak. You're Noah? You've forgotten me? That's disappointing, especially after what you did, he sneered, pointing at the faint scar on his forehead. I'm sure you're doing well now. You look like you're doing great. Sorry, I stammered, unsure how to respond. I hadn't seen him since that day. Sorry, I finally mustered the courage to meet his eyes again. I didn't know you'd be here. It's just. He interrupted me suddenly. Just that you didn't realize that Kay Herslan and Noah Alvarez are the same person. Otherwise, you wouldn't have come here looking for a job, he answered, completing the words I hadn't said yet, and he was right. To be honest, when I saw your name on the resume, I was surprised. That's why I decided to do the interview in person, to see for myself, he explained, standing up and pacing around the room. The air was thick with tension, and I felt like I could hardly breathe. I wonder if you know, he continued, or are just pretending not to know. He stopped in front of me, his sharp gaze searing into me like a laser. But from the shock on your face, you really didn't know I was Noah. Yes, I whispered. I have no reason to lie to you. I didn't know when I came here I didn't come here on purpose. His eyes narrowed as he studied me. You don't seem to have lived the best life, he said finally, his eyes roaming over me. What happened? You used to be full of energy, even radiant. Weren't you blonde? What happened to your hair? He pointed to my red hair, now tied up in a bun. I turned my head away, unwilling to meet his gaze. I hastily gathered my papers. I already knew my fate, after everything that happened between us. Noah Alvarez, now Kay Herslan, would never hire me. What are you doing? He asked, his voice calm. I tried my best to hold back the tears that were about to spill. I know you must be happy to see me like this, but I won't be your entertainment. As for what happened at school, I stood up, slinging my bag over my shoulder, my expression hardening. I know an apology isn't enough, but I'm really sorry, although you might not believe me. I want you to know, I didn't push you down the stairs. My voice shook, but I forced myself to look him in the eye. Before he could respond, I turned to head for the door, but just as my hand touched the doorknob, I felt a strong pair of hands grab my arm.